Good evening and welcome to the Monday, September 8th Maplewood City Council meeting. This is what a change of the season cold sounds like at the very tail end. I am not contagious and I do not have COVID. I just have laryngitis and it sounds much worse than it is. But between cough drops and tea, I'm going to get through this. And I actually feel pretty good. But tonight I wanted to open up. I got a notice from the League of Minnesota Cities recognizing and acknowledging Maplewood Representative Leon Lilly, one of the representatives for our city. He was selected as a League of Minnesota Cities Legislator of Distinction for 2025. The League's Board of Directors recognized a total of 28 legislators this year, including 16 House members and 12 Senate members for their actions and leadership on a wide variety of legislative issues of importance to cities across our state. I know Representative Lilly has been representing Maplewood since 2004, and we certainly recognize and acknowledge his earning this award of being a legislator, a state legislator of the year. So congratulations, Representative Lilly. We really appreciate your work on behalf of the city of Maplewood. So let us start with our Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Clerk Sint, would you do the roll call for us?
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here as well. Thank you. Council members, is there a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
By Lee, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve our agenda.
Get in there.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Approval of minutes. First, we have the August 25th City Council Workshop Meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Second.
By Juniman, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve our August 25th, 2025 City Council Workshop Meeting minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next, we have the August 25th, 2025 City Council Meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Second.
By Juniman, seconded by Lee, the motion to approve the August 25th, 2025 City Council Meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have administrative presentations, and City Manager Sable, this is your topic.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just a couple of things to forecast for you all. There is going to be a special council meeting of facility tours of the buildings that we own. So that will be on September 18th from 4:30 to 7:30. We've arranged for transportation and to kind of, I think it's helpful to get a firsthand look at the assets that we own. And earlier today, you did approve the EDA special meeting. So we will talk about a potential contract with NeighborWorks, depending on how tonight's conversation goes, and also a presentation from the Rice-Larpenteur Alliance. Also on the 22nd, I want to forecast two items that have been lingering in terms of the background for us. The first one is the climate mitigation plan. We've seen draft version number 1, draft version number 2, draft version number 3, and we're nearing the end of bringing that forward to adoption. And also, there'll be a discussion and a conversation around the community center, the YMCA Community Center. It's facility condition assessment, some appraisal work that has been done, and some conversations that we have had with the Y staff about their intentions going forward. And so we're trying to bring it all together into one robust conversation. We've set aside currently about 40 minutes for that conversation, and I'm terrible at predicting time, so it's either going to be a lot longer than that or it's going to be a lot shorter than that, but we feel like for a conversation starter, you'll have as much information ahead of time as you can to think through, as I just want to forecast their lease expires at the end of 2026, and all parties need to move ahead, and so we need the sooner we can make some decisions, the better. And then I'll also say, forecasting on September 22nd, we believe that Ellers will be finishing up their 10-year financial model. We're hoping for that to also be on the 22nd. So lots of budget conversations started in May, but we'll begin in earnest every meeting until the end of the year. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Mr. Sable, did you want to talk about some of the community events?
I did, as a matter of fact, and I appreciate you reminding me, because this is our last opportunity to talk about the Friday fireworks at Hazelwood Park beginning on Friday, September 19th at 5 p.m. There are tons of opportunities for kids to participate. We have the Touch-A-Truck. We'll have the law enforcement there. We'll have the Bearcat will be out. We have food trucks. We have tents. We have games. We have prizes. It is a full community festival. We talked about it beforehand, but it is really an opportunity for the community to come out and to celebrate. As folks maybe know, we did transition from a 4th of July fireworks to more of a fall festival. Caters to younger kids who can come out. It gets dark earlier, as we can always see. So it really is great. Also, there is the day after the Tulub grand opening at Keller Regional Park is going to be on September 20th at 10 a.m. And so there's lots of opportunities to get out in the community while the weather is still great. So thank you for the reminder.
Thank you for that. Any questions for Mr. Sable? Okay, then we have no council presentations tonight. Moving on to our consent agenda. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move consent agenda items G1 through 5.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Juniman. Consent agenda items G1 through 5. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We have no public hearings tonight. Unfinished business. Resolution approving the Maplewood Housing Rehabilitation Program. And Ms. Parr, this is your topic.
This is. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. As you likely recall, back in March, the council established a local housing trust fund to provide a funding source for our potential future housing rehabilitation program. In addition to the $300,000 that you allocated to that fund, Minnesota Housing awarded us an additional $225,000, which was the max match we could get, so that was great. And we can use that towards this future rehabilitation program, assuming that moves forward. Since that time, we've needed to get some final funding guidelines and some approvals from Minnesota Housing. We've recently received the guidelines that we need, so we're looking to move forward in anticipation of that tonight. We are welcoming Jason Peterson. Jason is the Chief Executive Officer of NeighborWorks, and I will tell you, he has been instrumental in sharing his successes that he has had with NeighborWorks, and their group has had helping other municipal programs be successful. So it's a disappointment that this didn't start sooner, and I've heard many of you say that. I know Councilmember Juniman has been triumphing this for a long time, but if you want to take away any good things from it, it's that they've figured out all the problems. Jason and his group have figured out all the problems, and they've given us some great advice. So I feel like our program is sound, and it gives us a great starting point. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jason.
Jason, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Again, Jason Peterson, Chief Executive Officer of NeighborWorks Home Partners. It's great to see everyone tonight. Just like to start by saying congratulations. Like Danette said, this is a huge step. You all have made a significant investment, but that investment that you also got from Minnesota Housing, I mean, that's an incredible match that you have. And as we were talking about, this is just the start of this program. So we're really excited to see this not only help folks initially, but watch it grow and help even more folks. So I'm going to run through a slideshow tonight. The first couple slides are going to be about our organization, then we'll talk specifically about the program. We will have time at the end, obviously, for questions, but feel free to jump in at any point. So a little bit about NeighborWorks Home Partners. So we've been around for 45 years. We are a nonprofit based out of St. Paul. Our office is located in the Frogtown area, just off Dale and 94. We were founded to provide home repair loans to residents of St. Paul. And so that's our bread and butter. That's what we've been doing for 45 years. We have since expanded our services, and we work in a number of suburban communities, a number of the suburban communities that border Maplewood, and have been very successful with that. So So our whole mission is empowering individuals and communities to help people buy, fix, and keep their homes. So it's a home ownership focus. And so we deliver a number of innovative services. I'm not going to read those all to you there, but our focus and our goal is all around home ownership. So supporting folks becoming homeowners and supporting homeowners to be successful. So what sets us apart? So we provide a holistic approach. So our goal is really anywhere in the home ownership spectrum journey, we can support someone. Somebody that's just getting started, somebody that might be facing a foreclosure, and for this, somebody that needs to fix their home. As a lender, we are a certified community development financial institution. So that means that's a certification from the Department of Treasury. That means we can take in investments and relend those in the community. We are also a certified lender from Minnesota Housing and HUD, and we're licensed with the NMLS. We do work with communities to craft programs. So we've been working closely with Maplewood staff to craft a program that fits Maplewood. And I know you all have had some input in that, and that's something that is really important to us to really make that crafted and fit the community that it's working for. And then we do leverage funding to try to get additional dollars. So I'm really impressed with the leverage that you guys have already received, but we also too are looking for additional dollars always to leverage with these programs. So a little bit about our impact. Over the last 5 years, we've helped almost 5,000 families with their home ownership needs. I will say we are a smaller nonprofit. We have a staff of about 20. Everybody, lives in the Ramsey County area. We're all locally based. But we do a lot of great work. So about 5,000 families in the last 5 years. That's including helping 1,300 families buy a home, and then 460 families keep their homes. That has resulted in about $335 million of investment just in the last 5 years. And the last one is the one I'd like to highlight here. In the last 5 years, we've helped 423 families with home repairs totaling $9.5 million. So that's just in the last 5 years with our staff alone. So there's a few in here, some slides and some stories. Not going to read you all of these, just want to highlight some of this. So, this was somebody that we worked with. You can see those top two pictures when we came in. I mean, there was really not even functioning plumbing. And that bottom picture is the after picture. So our programs are focused on health and safety repairs. That's what our programs are focused on. That will be the focus of this as well. So we're not looking, and that's why this is the home rehabilitation program. We're not looking at doing, improvements that are luxury items. We're looking at repairs, rehabilitation for folks that need this work and couldn't go to another source to get these. So here's just one story of somebody that we helped. So here's another just picture before and after. So the one on the left, you can see all the deterioration and the rot. The one on the right is going to be new siding. So a little bit more about lending at NeighborWorks. So in total, for all of our loans over the last 5 years, we've closed just over 1,500 loans totaling $28 million. So depending on who we talk to, like other nonprofits, that's a lot. If you talk to a bank, not so much. But we're really proud of all of the work that we're able to do. Funding sources that we have. So a plethora of different funding sources that we've used in the past, including Housing Trust Fund dollars, Minnesota Housing dollars. Some of these sources we have access to as a CDFI, and these will be things that we'll look to leverage to bring in additional dollars. One of the big things that we need when we're going to fundraise for additional dollars is that base leverage. That's something that you all have, and you actually have it from two sources already. You have it from your own investment in the Housing Trust Fund, and then you have it from the state as well. So that will really stand apart when we go to seek to try to get dollars into this as well. We do act as a loan administrator for the following cities and counties that are listed up there. In addition, we do have our own programs as well. So to give you an idea of that. So just a little bit more about our home repair work. So we do provide friendly support for customers every step of the way. So the last slide of this will really walk through what we will do for you all if you are all going to move forward with this relationship. But generally speaking, when we're working with a home improvement client, the first step is they usually just give us a call. And we say, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, my roof's leaking or my furnace is out. And we'll talk through some different things. If we need to send somebody out, we do have somebody on staff that we can send out to take a look at stuff. We can do a scope of work. And then we'll gauge where they are in the process. Talk about will they qualify, and we'll work with them to get the information that we need because they are qualifying for a loan. So we'll work through that process with them, help them get the loan application. We do that all online, so it's very easy to do, but if folks need additional assistance, they can either come to our office or we'll meet people at their homes as well. So we'll help folks get through that process. Once they are approved on the loan side, then we do have a construction manager who has over 25 years of experience, and they'll work with them on the project side. And so they'll say, hey, I need a new roof. Do you have any contractors? We can provide contractors. If they have their own contractors, that's fine too. We'll make sure they're licensed, we'll make sure they're insured, and we'll review bids. And so if somebody gets a bid that's way out of whack, we'll say, hey, you should get another bid for this. So we'll walk them through that. We don't require that they use any specific contractors of ours. We are not a contractor ourselves. We just provide that assistance and that guidance for folks. We do close the loans in-house, so our loan officer will be the one that will sit down and close that loan with that borrower. And then we also service those loans, and so they'll make the payments to us, we'll remit the payments to you all, so their relationship is with us the entire time. They're not working with anybody else. So not going to read through all of these, but there are a number of home repair benefits, and so it is a really important piece. I was looking in your last consolidated report that you do have an aging housing stock. I mean, you're first-ring suburb, similar to other first-ring suburbs. I'm born and raised in St. Paul, similar to my neighborhood in St. Paul. I mean, we have aging housing stock, and so there's really that importance to keep up that asset. So there is a lot of need for that right now. So here's just a quote that we had from one of our home improvement borrowers recently. Danette and I were talking about this beforehand about, getting into somebody's roof and finding out like what's really under there. So we actually were doing some work for Erica. Once the contractor got up on the roof and started pulling out the shingle, we realized that basically all the subroofing was deteriorated. And they probably would not have made it through that winter, was the really snowy winter, probably would have not made it through that winter had we not got up there and fixed that. So here's another example on the left, and that is before, right is after. And then here again is just another project. So these are really the focus of ours. It's really those systems, those real health and safety needs. So here's just another example too, and this really highlights just our work all the way through that process. So just from beginning to end. Again, we don't mandate. Outside of ensuring they have taxes, insurance, the contractor, we don't mandate a lot of things, but we provide that guidance and we provide that assistance. So just a little bit about Maplewood housing characteristics, and then we're going to jump into the program. So, about just over 15,000 total occupied housing units, 71% are owner occupied. So that's a high amount. Maplewood has a high owner occupancy rate. As you'll see in the program, this program is geared towards that. There is a number of folks that don't have a mortgage on their home. That means they own their home outright. So that's an interesting fact as I was looking into this. So this program will work as we get into the guidelines. You'll see both for detached and attached, but you have a large number, 9,000 single-family detached homes. Median home value, you can see median home sales price, and then that median household income. All right, so I want to jump into the program then. So this is the program that we're looking to offer in conjunction with Maplewood. So first piece, borrower eligibility. So what we're looking at is an income limit at or below 115% area median income. So this is going to adjust based on household size. You can see in the far left the different AMI percentages. If you look down to 115 and look across, you can see what that would be. So for example, family of four, the maximum income would be $152,250. So generally speaking, there are programs available for really low income folks to fix their homes, and that's under 30% AMI. And those are programs we offer through Minnesota Housing and other programs. There are some programs available for folks under 80% AMI. If you think generally federal funding, you think CDBG funding, home funding, those types of programs. So Ramsey County does have a program. That's going to be limited to under 80% AMI. So this program, if folks are under 80 or under 30, they would qualify for this, but there are other programs for that. There is really not other programs for folks between 80 and 115% AMI. So that's why we are suggesting the 115% AMI. If you're looking at a family of four, $152,000 isn't a lot of money when you needing to come up with, say, $30,000, $40,000 to fix your home. So that's why we went with 115% of AMI. It's still considered low to moderate income. Moderate goes up to 120 AMI, but that's where you can see that line item across. A little bit more about borrower eligibility. So we will use standard credit underwriting. So it's going to be, no foreclosures in the last 2 years. We're going to be looking at delinquencies. We will look at all of that. Something that's unique, not unique, but something that we did call out for the Maplewood program is the debt to income ratio cannot exceed 50%. So what that means is somebody's monthly payments, their monthly debt payments cannot be more than 50% of their monthly income coming in. This is a repayable loan, so we want to make sure folks can repay it. It is a lower interest rate loan and it's an affordable loan, but there is still a payment. So we do have a debt to income limit. And that's for two reasons. One is to hope to assure repayment, but the other is to not burden folks with more debt than they can afford. And so it's really a benefit for both sides. We don't want to have folks get into a loan that they can't afford. So a 50% debt to income limit. The other thing that we do have in place we're proposing is 100% home to value ratio. So what that means is if you look at all the debt on the property, so let's say somebody has a house that's worth $250,000 and their current mortgage is $200,000, they would have 80% loan to value, if I'm doing my math right. I should have picked easier round numbers. Yeah, 80% loan to value. So they could borrow up to, say, $50,000 to get to that 100%. But if somebody has a $250,000 valued home and they already have a first mortgage of $250,000, then they would have no equity left. And so we do that for the same reasons. So part of it is to have some security in the loan, but part of that is we don't want folks to over leverage their property because that becomes problematic for them. Digging into the nuances of this, and we've done this with other programs and it's included in this, we are adding in a portion of the repair costs to that value, assuming there will be an increase in property value because of these repairs. And so if folks are interested, that's a more nuanced piece, but that is something that we are looking at. So property eligibility. So property needs to be located in the city of Maplewood. Single family, 1 to 4 unit, attached or detached. So detached is going to be a traditional single family home. Attached, townhome, condo. So for those properties, the eligible uses would be for anything that they own. It wouldn't be for any of the common areas. So if they have something they need to do, like the plumbing inside their property, that would be eligible. But if they're looking at the common sidewalk outside, that would not be eligible. That's generally controlled by an HOA anyways. So for the attached, it's just the units that they own. And then the big thing that I mentioned earlier is this is for owner occupants. So this program, while there are a number of renters and a number of rental homes that need repairs, this is a owner-occupied program. Eligible improvements. So really, we're looking at health and safety. So improve the condition of the exterior of the home, improve handicapped accessibility, improve energy efficiency. Ineligible is going to be those recreation, luxury, working capital, and then there's not they cannot use dollars for this for any debt service or refinancing of anything. And then last about the program, product terms. So we're looking at loan amounts between $5,000 and $40,000. I know that there was some discussion around maybe $25,000. So in our experience working with other communities, and then just our own programs, and the cost right now to make repairs, $25,000 just isn't a lot of money. You start to dig into a project, and it's just $25,000 is really limiting. And we've actually, the cities that we worked with that had a $25,000 limit, we've gone back to and they've raised it to $40,000. I think with your initial investment, you'll be able to help, if you have folks getting $40,000, you'll be able to help at least 10 families with that. I think that's a good initial investment. If you try to spread your money too thin, you're really not going to be able to help folks in a deep enough way to make a difference. You could have, we work with Shoreview, and we just had somebody in Shoreview close a loan for $12,000 because they just had a very specific thing they needed to do. Like, that will happen, and that will help offset. But the opportunity to be able to go up to $40,000, I think, is really important. 3% fixed interest rate. So this is where the cost savings really comes into place. You know, you look right now, interest rates are 6-7% for a first mortgage, higher than that for a second mortgage. You know, the competing, I didn't look at today's rates, but the competing is not the right word, but one opportunity for folks to get financing similar to this would be Minnesota Housing's Fix-Up Fund. I'm guessing that rate today is at 9%. So this is a really good opportunity for folks to get a good rate and also utilize the city's dollars, because as you're investing these, you will get that principal payment back plus 3%, and they're getting a great deal off this interest rate. Will make this affordable for them. Loan term, maximum of 20 years. So generally what we do is we have folks pay about $1,000 a year. And once you go over 20 years, $20,000, then you're going to increase that, but we'll spread that out. So somebody who has the $12,000 person from Shoreview, they had a 12-year term. So most people have a 20-year term, but folks that are less, that we do that. And then this loan is secured with a recorded mortgage, so it is a traditional mortgage that's secured. A couple other items before I kind of talk through how we operate these programs. So one is the loan administration costs right now are proposed to be paid by the city of Maplewood. So what that means is there aren't costs to the borrower when they're coming to get these loans. And so I think that's a great opportunity to really provide a benefit to residents of the city of Maplewood and not have them have to come up with that money up front for this. And the other thing I mentioned is the contractor must be licensed and insured. So that's really our basis for the contractor. We have a list of about 10 or 15 contractors. It depends on the specific work to be done that we're happy to provide folks. But if folks have their own contractors, we're fine with that too. We do make sure they're licensed and insured, and we will take a look at the bids. We always look at the bids and talk through bids just to make sure we don't see anything that would be flagged. But outside of that, those are our two requirements. So this is really my last slide here, and then I'll open up to questions. So how do we assist municipalities in our work? So one of the big things is the creation of legally compliant loan programs and guidelines. And so we have about 20 staff. 4 of those are licensed loan officers, and so we do have a number of licensed loan officers on staff. We have a specific loan officer who's been with us for about 15 years and has been working in this work for about 30, and she's dedicated to our home repair program. So she will be the dedicated person for this. She knows all about this work, does a great job, but all our staff are really knowledgeable on what is and isn't allowed. And so we've worked with the city of Maplewood to really create what that program looks like, provided legal documents, really got that set up in a legally compliant way. Once that's set up, something that was really interesting to hear in the presentation prior to mine was how successful your newsletter is. Like, that's great, but like getting the word out is like the big thing. We need to get the word out. And then once folks start calling us, just responding to inquiries. I did mention we do the Minnesota Housing Program for low-income folks under 30% AMI. So if somebody calls us from the city of Maplewood, like, our goal is to really drum up some excitement. And if somebody is, very low income, we would actually probably divert them to the other program because we anticipate we'll have more folks than we actually have money available. We also do the Minnesota Housing Fix-Up Fund program. So in our experience, a lot of folks, when we launch a new program with the city, will be over income. And they'll just call to say, I really need this, but they end up being over 115% AMI. We still can offer them the Minnesota Housing Fix-Up Fund program. So our goal is to really offer them a service. If that's what they'd like to do. They don't always fall into this program. So it's really like, how can we get folks calling us and interested in this? And then we have other programs that we can have them look at. So we do receive, process, evaluate, underwrite, close loans all in-house. And so that's all done in-house. We do, again, have licensed loan officers and all the legally compliant systems to do that. Another big thing I do want to touch on is we manage the entire construction process. So as I mentioned, we don't like mandate a contractor, but we, once a loan closes, we actually escrow all funds in-house. And we don't pay the contractor until we verify the work's done and the homeowner verifies the work's done. So we don't pay folks up front, and we don't pay folks without seeing that the work's done. And so we hold those dollars in-house, and we cut checks directly to the contractor. And so we just make sure that that's all easy and smooth. Contractor can get paid when the work's done, And then we collect lien waivers, so there's not going to be any liens filed on these properties, and just make sure that everything is the way it should be. Permits are closed out and whatnot. Post-closing, so I did mention we do the closings in-house. We will then record the mortgage, take care of all of that. Then we do service the loans as well. So we'd be the ones sending out the statements, we're the ones taking the payments. If folks are falling behind, they're working with us. We're talking with them that whole time. We do reporting, and so there will be reporting to you all, and there will be reporting to Minnesota Housing because you have grant dollars, so we're very well versed in that. And then looking at fundraising additional dollars when we can. So that's it for my presentation. What questions do folks have?
Mr. Peterson, thank you for your presentation. I find this particularly exciting. I, too, have been on the council for a while, and we have been trying to get something like this going, and tonight is kind of the culmination of that. And I really like how broad this program is, that you are interested in helping people buy, fix, and keep their homes, which is ultimately what we want as well on the council. So this is particularly exciting, and I like the fact that you are so experienced with doing this. Coming alongside our city, I think we can leverage your expertise and really help families out there in Maplewood. So it's very exciting. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for coming tonight. I drive by your office every day, and I don't know that you guys didn't even know you guys were there. So the work that you do are great work, so thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
I had a question, and it's, I think when we talk about loans, the default is always something that lingers. Can you share with us a little bit about your troubled debt ratio and how that compares to your portfolio?
Yes.
I know these are pretty backed up with mortgages and liens and all that, but just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. So last year, our total portfolio that we service of our own loans, which is primarily going to be in Ramsey County and heavily focused in St. Paul, last year is about 13 million in total loans. And we wrote off this year as uncollected about 150,000. So, just about 1%, or 0.1%. We have right now our delinquency rate sits at about 6% for any level of delinquency at all, and our 90-plus delinquency rate is about 3.5%. We do service loans for a number of other municipalities, and in our time servicing, we have never had to write off a loan, or the municipalities never had to write off a loan. We've had to do some workouts and some loan modifications. Our goal is to try to find a path forward in which we can get folks back on track. And, ultimately, if it does come down to more heavy-duty collections, that would be something that the city of Maplewood would have to look at if somebody was very far behind. But having servicing in-house, we actually outsourced servicing for a long time, loan servicing, and we were really disappointed in the customer service received. And so it was important for us, because folks would come back to us and say, hey, I got the loan with you guys, but now I'm being treated this way. And so it was important for us to really have that back in-house. But to answer your question specifically, those are the numbers. But I can follow up with the breakdown if helpful.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
One more question.
One more
Sorry.
question?
Yep. Just one other question I have is, so the cost of doing business.
Yep.
What does that look like with the city of Maplewood
Yep.
if we were to partner with you with this program?
Yeah, great question. So, for us, this is a fee-for-service arrangement. So when we close loans in the city of Maplewood's name, and so these are your assets. When, we collect principal payments, those are forwarded to you as well as interest, and so that is all your asset. So for us, what are we being paid to do? We're being paid to basically do the origination and do the servicing. It costs us roughly $4,500 for an average home repair loan. A little less for a down payment loan because we don't have the construction side of it. So that's about our cost. So in the agreement that we're looking at a 10% fee to provide these, and so on a $40,000 loan, that would be $4,000. Understand there might be smaller loans, and we did have a floor of $2,000 for the fee. So if it was a $5,000 loan that we did, it would still be a $2,000 fee for the city of Maplewood because $500 just isn't close enough to $4,500 to make it work. Our goal is to get close to breaking even because we can get some other philanthropic dollars to support our work because of the mission-based work that we do. We are a nonprofit. And specifically, our focus has been Ramsey County, and so we're able to work with the St. Paul Foundation, some other local foundations that can support this, so we're able to charge kind of just under the cost to us, but that is then what the cost is to the city of Maplewood.
Just a quick comment, Mayor. I think, and I asked that question because being a nonprofit myself, I think a lot of time when we receive money from government, it's do the work, but we don't want to pay you. So I think for me, I'm interested in seeing, what makes sense for us to make it make sense for you guys also, and not just do the work for free for us. So that way we continue to be good partners going forward. So I don't know what that conversation is going to look like, but I look forward to seeing that though.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Lee, to your point, I'll just add, the other aspect we've talked about is servicing the loan. There's one thing for the origination, but then there's a servicing, and there's a cost to that. To your point, there's a cost to that as well. Typically, it's about $200 a year per loan to service that, based on what we've been talking about. And we estimate that on average, that 3% interest, is what would cover that over time. So we're building that in. We're not making that money back, but that's not what this is about, obviously.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council members? Okay, there is a motion before us. Would someone like to make it?
I move to approve the resolution approving the Maplewood Housing Rehabilitation Program.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Lee, the motion to approve the resolution approving the Maplewood Housing Rehabilitation Program. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes.
Thank you. Thank you all. Congratulations. That's very exciting.
Thank you very much. This is wonderful. Okay, under new business, we have two more items tonight. Mr. Rube, the first item is yours concerning the preliminary property tax levy and setting the 2026 budget public hearing date and time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. All right. So tonight, Council will be asked to set the preliminary property tax levy for 2026 and set the public hearing for the 2026 budget and levy. As a reminder, the levy, after it's set tonight, it can go down, but it cannot go up. When looking at the 2026 property tax levy, the preliminary levy is $34,522,856, which is an increase of just about $2.7 million. Of that $2.7 million, about 70% of it is going to payroll increases. Those payroll increases are based off of contractual obligations for our 7 unions. It also includes 1 sergeant and a public safety admin person based off of the Bostrom report that we received earlier in the year. It includes a fire and HR analyst, 4 firefighters, and 3 of them would be covered by the SAFER grant if we receive that. And for 2026, it covers about 25%. So it's 25% of 6 firefighters, not 3, sorry. And then it includes 2 public works maintenance employees, partially paid by the general fund and then the enterprise funds. Other significant increases have to do with internal charges, and those internal charges are for both IT and vehicle charges. It is significant at the $245,000 mark, but that covers different equipment, IT-related, as well as subscriptions and memberships for different softwares. And it also includes some of the vehicles that are used for code enforcement, as well as other public works vehicles. $210,000 is for new election equipment. $179,000 increase is to cover the public safety radios that they use, as well as an increase in some costs for park maintenance upgrades, as well as building upgrades. And then an additional $60,000 towards the building improvements. The tax levy over the last 10 years, including the preliminary 8.48%, is 5.8% over the last 10 years. When looking at the property tax levies in Ramsey County from 2022 to 2026, as you can see in the box, that's where Maplewood is. We're right in the middle. There are 9 above us, 9 below us. The dark blue or purple, depending on how you're seeing it, on the far right side are the 2026 preliminary levy numbers that I've received recently. I know there's others like St. Paul, I believe is 5.3 around there, but that's not in here at this point. Looking at White Bear Township, they are just 1.4% less than us as of right now, but we do not have the 2026 figure, so I anticipate they're going to probably beat us out there. So that will push us in the bottom half of levies over the 5-year period within Ramsey County. Of the 12 on the far right side in the blue for 2026, 2 of them are under Maplewood at this point. The rest of them have levies higher than ours. For the property tax impact on a median home, it's approximately $139 per year or $2.67 per week. When looking at the Ramsey County market values, from this slide you can see that residential took the biggest increase at 4.78. Agriculture, apartments, commercial all had decreases. A big part of that has to do with the vacancy in St. Paul, in downtown St. Paul specifically, which ultimately pushes that tax burden onto residents. So as we see that in Maplewood, if we have vacancies or areas that are not being properly utilized in Maplewood for commercial industrial areas, that's going to lower those values and increase the value and pass that tax burden on to the residents of Maplewood. And then the market value increase is approximately 3.7% in Maplewood for 2026. The next 2 slides are additional comparisons provided by the county. So from this slide, you can see that the median value home in Ramsey County is $315,400, which is the lowest out of the 7 counties in the area. And then when we take a look at the property tax rates, Ramsey County is the highest. So we have the lowest value, median value homes, but they are also paying a significant amount of the taxes when it comes to Ramsey County's levy. Part of the drivers for that, as you can see on the side, is due to less commercial property value, as I just mentioned, as well as the fact that Ramsey County is very well built out when it comes to homes. So any kind of commercial property, and partly based off of our EDA conversation, once we can develop that and kind of build that up, that's going to help, as well as projects like Century Ponds, putting that out there, it's going to increase the values of some of the homes, and it's going to pass that tax burden on. The budget CIP timeline is similar to what you've seen in the past. The biggest change, the only change really, is on September 18th, the city building tour. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if there are no questions or feedback, staff would recommend a motion to approve the 2026 preliminary levy and set the public hearing for December 8th, 7 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Rube. Mr. Sable.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Just a couple of things. One, Joe, thank you for all of the work behind the scenes. I see it every day, and I appreciate it, and I know it comes out in a condensed slide deck, but the sheer number of hours that went into making this was appreciated and really well done. So thank you for that. I want to link 2 things. One, Peter Leatherman talked about, the people's attitudes towards property taxes and the property tax system. And he says it is a statewide issue because the property tax system is incredibly complicated. And so at the beginning of the year, the county assessor determines your value of your home on a mass appraisal process and assigns a value of assigns a value to all properties in the county and including in Maplewood. And then each governmental unit decides what the budget ought to be. So the county, the city, the school districts, the mosquito control district, all of these governmental units then make up that piece. And so Maplewood's share of that total bill is about 33.5%. And then the amount that's determined then is divided up by your slice of this very big pie. And so to the average homeowner, it's incredibly complicated, and things that happened 6 months ago impact something that's going to happen a year from now. And there's always a lag. And so I understand and appreciate how complicated it is. I've worked in it for more than 25 years, and I'm just about there, but I don't quite have it all. So on our webpage on maplewoodmn.gov/budget, we have opportunities for people to give us feedback. We create sort of a mythical receipt of what your tax bills purchases. So you can see that right on a typical bill, $44 a month goes to the police department. And so we want people to have a real tangible understanding of what their dollar goes to, because I can say that we provide exceptional value to the community and to the residents. And I've yet to meet people who volunteer and say, I love paying extra taxes. We know that is a lot to ask of residents to pay more. And our job as city staff is to make sure that we deliver the best value we can for the lowest amount of money. And so this is not done in a vacuum. This is done with intention. And so we'll continue to provide resources. We'll continue to provide links to how property taxes work, because as you know, this is a conversation that we talk about regularly. I know everyone knows my obsession with strange numbers, and we meet, this council meets 23 times in this room each year. 13 of those meetings will include a budget conversation. So more than half of the year, we are talking about or thinking about the budget and its impact and what it means on behalf of residents. I can say that the leadership team who is here in this room, we talk about it and we care about making sure that we deliver quality and high-value service. And so it is a lot to ask, but I can assure you that there is tremendous value that derives to the community. We can provide the metrics to demonstrate it, and we're really proud of the work that gets done and the results that the community sees. I think they're appreciative of it.
Thank you, Mr. Sable. Council members, are there any questions for Mr. Rube? Seeing none, well, then there is a motion before us. Would someone like to make it?
Motion to adopt the resolution setting a preliminary tax levy for taxes payable in 2026 at $34,522,856 and setting the 2026 budget hearing for December 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Good on this council.
Moved by Councilmember Lee, seconded by Councilmember Villavicencio. The
And
motion.
Councilmember Jones, because it was a choral response. Come on now, we practiced that.
That was a close one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
The motion as printed in our council packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have a resolution adopting the 2026 preliminary EDA property tax levy. Ms. Parra, this one is your topic.
Madam Mayor and Council, if you don't mind, I'll take this.
All right,
I'll just keep
okay.
on staying.
You can be, it's good that you're still there, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And we don't need the slide deck at this point, if that matters. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. So it's going to sound very similar to what you heard before. But as you're aware, earlier tonight, we brought forward a budget and levy for the EDA. So before you tonight, as council members, there's the proposed budget for 2026 and levy for the EDA. The levy is proposed as $636,000. They'll provide resources to support the goals of the EDA. By adopting the preliminary 2026 levy and setting the minimum levy for, or excuse me, setting the maximum levy for 2026, as a reminder, it can go down, but it cannot go up at this point. The impact on a median value home is about $36 per year or 69 cents per week. Outside of that, if there are no questions, staff would recommend council approving or adopting the resolution and setting the public hearing date and time for December 8th at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Rube? Seeing none, would someone like to make the motion?
I motion to adopt the resolution setting a preliminary EDA tax levy for taxes payable in 2026 of $636,000 and setting the 2026 budget hearing for December 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Juniman, the motion as written in our council packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Sable.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I just want to say thank you for the process. This has been good, and I know that this is when we're actually going to ramp up and get into more detail. So the department directors are going to be, similar to last year, at the lectern, talking about the services that they intend to deliver and what the changes mean. And so you'll get a chance to do a true deep dive. And so we want to make sure that we'll have all of those recorded department budget presentations included in the budget calendar and on the budget website page so people can have access to as much information. So everything that we do is available in real time. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank staff and council members. We did a lot of really encouraging things tonight in terms of a new housing program. We learned that we are doing many things right in our city, and it was a very productive meeting. So with that, we are adjourned.